This story is about a girl from the stars who lands on a quiet human outpost, and the secret she hides in her shadow. People think she is alone. She is not. She is linked to a living storm, a dragon that can cross space without a ship. Tonight, the outpost will learn. Some visitors bring gifts. She brings fire, promise. In 7 minutes, you'll see why the dragon chose her, and why it might choose us. The desert outpost slept beneath 3 moons when the ship fell. It didn't crash like the old meteor storms. No fire, no roar. Just a silver streak that split the clouds and slid into the dunes like a whispered secret. At dawn, the settlers found her, a girl, small, pale, wrapped in cracked metal armor that hummed faintly. Her hair shimmered like frost, and her eyes were the color of deep water. She said little, only one word in perfect English: water. They led her to the well. She drank slow, careful, as if tasting gravity for the first time. The sheriff asked the usual questions: name, ship, home, but she only looked toward the horizon. "I was running," she said softly. It followed. Nobody understood. The miners joked she was another drifter, lost from the trade lanes. But when she stood, her shadow stretched wrong, too long, too wide, and flickered like heat over metal. By evening, the wind changed. The radio tower began to hum without power. The old clock in the watchpost froze at 1903 and started ticking backward. The sheriff frowned. "What kind of ship did you bring here?" She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at the rising storm and whispered, "It's close. Don't fear it. Just don't lie to it." Then the thunder spoke, not like weather, but like a heartbeat in the clouds. The ground trembled. The sky flashed with gold veins, and for one breath, every reflection in the glass showed something huge moving behind her, scaled, winged, waiting. The sheriff stepped back, hand on his blaster. "What's in the storm, girl?" She met his eyes and said, calm and certain, "My protector, my punishment, my dragon," and the first shadow fell across the town. The first sign was small. The wind forgot which way to blow. Flags on the depot pointed east, then west, then straight up as if a hand held them. The second sign was louder. The radio tower sang with no power. A deep note, like a whale lost in the sky. Dogs hid under trucks. Birds vanished from the wires. The girl stood very still. Her armor lights dimmed to a soft pulse. On her wrist, a thin band woke and printed 3 words in pale blue. Tether opening slow, the sheriff noticed. "What does that mean?" "It is reaching," she said. "It follows my truth. It hates my lies. It does not understand yours." "Yours?" he asked. "My laws," she said. "Where I'm from, you make a rule and then you keep it even if it hurts." A miner laughed too hard. "We do that here, sometimes." The girl's shadow stretched again, long and wrong. The sand around her boots drew a faint circle, as if magnet dust could see a shape the eye could not. The clock in the watchpost ticked backward 2 more seconds and stuck. The sheriff lifted his blaster an inch. "If this thing is dangerous, we need to aim now." "No," she said. "Do not raise metal at it. Do not speak false names. Do not call a storm by a nickname. Speak plain. Stand firm. Breathe slow. Rules for a dragon," he said, trying the word. She nodded once. "It is a keeper. It decides what is a threat. If you act like a trap, it closes." From the ridge, the boy yelled, "The clouds are turning!" Everyone looked. The storm above the town was not a normal roll of gray. It was a circle, tight and bright at the rim, dark at the heart, an eye without a pupil. The band on her wrist chimed again. Tether, open, near. Tiny sparks crawled over the well's stones. The water rose and settled as if testing its own surface. The sheriff swallowed. "If it judges us a threat, what happens?" "Then it removes the threat," she said. "Cleanly." "And if we pass?" "Then it protects," she whispered. "Even from the ones chasing me." A long shadow climbed the main street like dawn, moving the wrong way. The storm eye lowered. Something golden looked down. The dragon does not arrive with fire. It arrives with a question, and the first answer decides who the town becomes. The storm eye stopped above the well. No fire, no roar. Just a low pressure that pressed the lungs and made every lie want to crawl out and hide. The girl lifted her chin. The sheriff kept his blaster down, knuckles white. The water in the well turned to a mirror. A golden slit opened in that mirror, an eye looking up from inside the town, not down from the sky. Scales flickered in the reflection like stars under a lake. A voice came, not in words at first, but in weight. The girl's wristband caught it and gave the town a translation, flat and honest. Question: who are you to this water? No one moved. The sheriff swallowed. We drink it. We guard it. We pay it back in work, the water breathed. The gold eye watched his face. The band clicked answer Wade. Mostly true. Old miner Vesk pushed forward, eager. I paid for the pipes. I own the well, Metal squealed. Every nail on the well cap turned red with rust in one breath. Vesk jumped back, swearing. The band printed. Correction, no one owns a source. The girl whispered, plain words. No claims. The boy on the ridge cupped his hands. I bring water to the old. I don't spill? The mirror rippled, pleased. A thin wind lifted his hair like a pat from a giant hand. The dragon's eye narrowed, hunting the next truth. Question: are you a trap? Every gun in town felt heavy. A guard shifted his rifle higher on instinct, only a finger's width. The mirror went dark. Don't, the girl said, steady and soft. Put it down! The guard breathed out, lowered the barrel, and stepped back. The mirror brightened again. The pressure eased a little. The sheriff spread his hands. We are afraid. We will not shoot if we are not harmed. Answer. Wade. True enough. The gold pupil turned, landing on the girl at last. Question. Why did you run? She did not look at the ground. Because hunters used my tether to chase you. If I stayed, they would not find this place. If I ran, they would. Her voice did not shake. I am sorry, the mirror stilled. For the first time, there was sadness in the wait. Judgment, temporary. Guarded. Under watch, a shadow peeled off the storm, half shape, half light. A horn tip, a line of jaw, a wing like folded rain. The dragon settled around the well without landing, a circle of wind that held, not crushed. From the high clouds, a new sound cut the air. Thin, fast, wrong. The band flashed red. Intrusion. 3 ships. Vector down. The girl closed her eyes. The hunters. The dragon's eye turned from the mirror to the sky. The raiders do not aim at the dragon. They aim at the water, and the town must choose which rule to keep when fear screams for the gun. They came like broken stars, 3 black ships cutting the clouds into knives. The radio cracked alive without using power. A cold voice filled every speaker in town. Deliver the girl. Release the tether. The beast belongs to us. The sheriff stood in the street, hat low, hands empty. The town watched from doorways. No one breathed loud. Beside the well, the girl did not move. The dragon coiled around the water like a ring of wind and light, half here, half elsewhere. On her wrist, the band flashed. ID Raiders, Private Capture Guild Intent, Take Host, Harvest Tether. The sheriff whispered, Host? The girl kept her eyes on the sky. Me. The lead ship dropped flares, bright coins meant to blind beasts and scare crowds. The dragon did not blink. It tilted a wing and the flares curved away, landing in an empty field to burn harmless circles in the dirt. A second broadcast hissed down. Final warning. The outpost is not our enemy. The asset is! The boy shouted from the ridge, voice cracking. She's not an asset! The girl raised a hand. Do not answer them, she said softly. They fish with anger. They want you to lie. Metal groaned in the wind. The raiders spread into a triangle, one above to bait the dragon, one sliding low over the ridge, and one lining up with the water plant. The band ticked fast. Tactic, split targets, forceful entry, risk, town damage, severe. The sheriff glanced at his men. Fingers twitched near old rifles. The girl shook her head once. If you point metal at the sky, the keeper calls you a trap, she warned. Stand easy. Speak plain. She stepped to the well, bare palm on stone. The dragon settled closer, its light drawing in, ready but leashed. Its golden eye stayed on the hunters, not on the people. The raiders opened their bellies. Racks of hard shapes slid into view, nets that glittered blue, darts that hummed like hornets, and heavy rods with drill tips for cutting hulls and bones. The cold voice returned, impatient now. 10 seconds. Or we take her and leave a crater, Sand hissed. The clock at the watchpost jumped backward 1 more second and stuck. The girl lifted her face into the hot wind. Keep her, she whispered. Guard only. The dragon answered with a low breath that shook the street signs but did not break them. The lead ship leveled its nose, not at the dragon, but at the water plant. Engines howled. The ship dove. The first shot does not aim for the beast, it aims for the pipeline. And to stop the blow, she must choose where the pain will land. The first shot did not hit the dragon, it hit the pipeline. Steel screamed. A white burst of vapor rose over the plant. Half the town gasped as the water gauge spun down like a dying clock. Children began to cry. The sheriff looked at his men. Hands went to rifles. Don't, the girl said, voice tight. Guns make it bigger. Above them, the 3 raider ships split like knives, one circling high to bait the dragon, one dropping toward the water plant, one vanishing behind the ridge to cut their exit road. The dragon turned, ready to enter fully, and paused. The well pulsed under its shadow. It would burn the town if it came in with all its weight. On the girl's wrist, the band flashed, tether, full entry, wide damage. She swallowed. I can change it. How? The sheriff asked. I moved the pain to me. She knelt by the well and placed both hands on the stone. Her armor lights dimmed, then went dark. A thin blue thread ran from her palm into the water like ink. The dragon shivered. Its light folded, its edge drew in, its great body shrinking to a tighter shape, more precise, less storm. The band printed, Host load, 58%, 71%, 84%. Her nose bled. She did not pull away. Target ship, she whispered, eyes on the plant. The dragon obeyed. No roar, no blaze. It moved like a surgeon's hand. A narrow lance of wind cut the raider's engine bell in two. No fire, no explosion. The ship dropped like a stone and slid into the sand, dead. The plant stood, cheers rose and died. The second raider dove straight for the main street, missiles armed. The sheriff flinched to the rifle. The girl shook her head once, fierce. Trust, she said. Finish it, the dragon flicked a wing. The missiles turned sideways and buried themselves in empty dunes. A wall of sand rose and fell like a sigh. Silence. Then a cold laugh cracked from above. The third raider opened a cage, a blue net that spread like frost and fell toward the well. The band screamed, Tether trap! Host lock! The girl staggered. The dragon's light guttered. How do we stop it? The boy cried. The girl looked at him through blood and grit. Names, she rasped. Real ones. Out loud. The net tightens, the town speaks, and the dragon learns a new anchor, made of true names and one secret she never meant to tell. The blue net fell like winter. It did not burn. It did not cut. It closed, a cold light that wrapped the girl's chest and pinned her to the well. The dragon's ring of wind flickered, shrank, and shook like a trapped breath. The raider's voice slid down the radios, pleased and thin. Host, locked. Beast leashed. Do not interfere. The sheriff took one step and stopped. The girl shook her head hard. No meddle. No lies. Names. The boy ran from the ridge, face pale, eyes fierce. He stood beside her and shouted into the storm eye, I am Thomas Hale! His voice cracked on the last word, but it held. The net shivered. The sheriff raised his chin. I am Rylan Ward, sworn to this well. One by one, the townsfolk stepped into the street and spoke. I am Mara Greaves. I keep the pumps. I am Juno Pell. I bring water to old hands. I am Vesk, and I was wrong about owning this. Each true name was a small stone dropped into the mirror. The net's blue lines thinned. The dragon's light steadied. The raiders cursed over open comms. New darts armed. The lead ship rolled for another pass. The girl could barely breathe. It needs my name, she rasped. Not the one I use. The one that binds the tether. The sheriff leaned close. Can you survive that? Her smile was small and stubborn. Only if someone says it with me. Thomas grabbed her hand. I will. She nodded, closed her eyes, and spoke a word that did not sound like any language the town knew. It was short and sharp and full of salt. The dragon heard it and answered with a low chord that warmed the street like sunlight. Thomas repeated the strange word without fear. The sheriff said it next. Then Mara, then Juno, then Vesk. The name moved through the town like a bell in rain. The net snapped, not with a bang but with a sigh, as if it had been holding its own breath too long. Blue threads fell dead around her boots and turned to harmless frost. The dragon rose, still narrow, still precise, gold eye bright, ring of wind strong. It lifted one wing toward the raider formation. Don't kill, the girl whispered. Remove teeth. The dragon obeyed. A clean gust crossed the sky. The raiders' missiles spun and harmlessly corkscrewed into the desert. A second gust took the nets and folded them like laundry. The last gust pressed the lead ship until its engine coughed and slept. Silence. Only the storm eye turning slow. The raiders tried one last trick. A small pod launched from the crippled ship and streaked for the well, a glass needle, thin and fast. Thomas saw it first. Needle! The girl reached for the tether with her whole body. The dragon struck the air with the flat of its wing. The needle froze above the well, hung there, then fell gently into her hand like a caught fly. She looked up at the storm eye, blood on her lip, and spoke her true name once more, calm, claiming, not afraid. The dragon bowed. Dawn is coming. The raiders drift and the town stands. But keeping a dragon has a cost, and the town must decide. Close the tether and lose a guardian, or make a pact and become its harbor. Dawn thinned the storm eye to pale gold. The raiders hung powerless over the dunes. The town stood in a ring around the well. The dragon circled once, quiet wind, no roar, then settled its light like a halo on the stones. On her wrist, the band stopped flashing. One simple line glowed, tether stable, choose. The sheriff spoke first. Close it and we sleep without fear. Mara shook her head. Close it and raiders return next month. Vesk stared at the empty pipeline gauge. We need water. We need a guard. The girl touched the well with the back of her hand, gentle now. Closing is easy. Keeping is hard. She looked up at the dragon. Keeper, ask. The mirror water brightened. A soft weight pressed on every chest. Not pain, not threat. A question that felt like a hand waiting to hold. Question, will you share rule? The sheriff swallowed. What rule? The band translated as the dragon sent meaning through the air. Rules, speak true around the source. Name your work and do it. Ask the door, do not force it. When fear rises, count 3 before acting. If harm must happen, make it small and clean. Silence. Then Thomas lifted his chin. I can count 3. A murmur of nervous laughter loosened the crowd. The dragon's eyes softened, pleased. Vesk cleared his throat. What do you ask from her? He nodded at the girl. She answered for the dragon. My path, I stay. I teach your children the count and the names. I keep the tether soft. When trouble comes, I carry the pain first. The sheriff frowned. And what do you ask from us? 2 things, she said. Speak plain, and once each year at dawn, say your names into the well so it remembers who it protects. A thin man at the back muttered, What if I lie? The wind stilled. The dragon's light cooled. The band wrote one word, try. The man opened his mouth to joke and found he could not. His voice tripped on the wrong shape. He blinked, surprised, then laughed for real. I'll try not to try. The girl smiled through dried blood. Joy decides. We keep it human. The sheriff looked at the empty sky, then at the town, then at the well. He raised both hands. We share rule. One by one, voices joined his. Mara, Juno, Vesk, the old, the young. Names rolled into the water like small, bright stones. The dragon bowed its head. A thin rain began, sweet and clean, from no cloud at all. The band dimmed to a quiet pulse. Harbor set. The narrator's last line could be read by any voice in town. They met the alien girl and feared the dragon. They chose the rules, spoke their names, and gained a harbor. When raiders come, the door will open. When fear comes, they will count 3. And when the storm asks who they are, the water will answer. If you liked this story, subscribe to HFY Legends. New legends rise here every week.